Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our community talk. My name is Bushle and I'm with Youth Capital. Before we dive into today's session, I just want to introduce Youth Capital and our work briefly. Youth Capital is a youth-led campaign advocating for policy change, accountability, and creating opportunities for young people in South Africa. We center youth voices, evidence research, and direct engagement with decision makers to tackle unemployment and systemic exclusion. And this series is part of our ongoing campaign called Communities a Verb, a 4-stage engagement that invites young people to vote on the topic that matter to them most, join a talk like this one, host in-person community meetups, and then upload and share their reflections so the ideas can grow beyond this session. So this talk is now on stage 2. We asked you guys to actually vote on the topics that you wanted us to speak on. And now we are on the joining the talks part. The name of today's series is on Counting What Counts, which is exploring everyday choices, challenges, and opportunities around money, growth, and mental health. These talks are really designed to be relevant, accessible, and actionable, providing insights that help you navigate real life while connecting with peers and also experts. We know that these issues are not just abstract, they show up in our homes, in our friendships, and in our plans for the future. So think of today not just as a conversation, but as a space to connect, reflect, and share tools you can. An opportunity to hear different perspectives, challenge assumptions, and carry ideas back into your communities. We're very excited to have you here, and we hope you'll engage fully. So don't be scared to ask some questions in the chat and take this conversation forward beyond just today. Today, we're not only counting what counts, but also are shaping what counts for us as young people in South Africa. So I'm going to hand over to our moderator, Musa, who's going to be holding this conversation for us to introduce himself and also our panelists. Thank you so much again for making the time. Over to you, Musa.
Thank you so much, Bushle. Thank you so much, Siva. Thank you so much, Youth Capital. Fam, let's be real. Money in South Africa right now, it's giving survival mode and soft life at the same time. One moment you're broke, the next moment you're sitting with a quarter cheese bologna like you just signed a deal. And that's the story of today. My name is Musa Kuzwayo. I'm a storyteller and a host who likes sparking conversations that matter. But today it's not about me. It's about us. It's about our relationship with money, how it affects our mental health, and how we can flip that into freedom as well. A big shout out to Radio Workshop for pulling the space together as well. This is literally what community is about. It's about giving young people the space, the mic to talk about real issues so that we're not just on the sidelines, but that we're literally in the conversation. Because if we do not talk about it, guess what? Who will? Who will talk about it? But before we get too serious, just like the YouTubers always say, remember to leave a comment in the comment section below. I heard from the grapevine that there is a prize for a comment for someone who comments a lot. So make sure that you're leaving those comments in the comment section and also engage. Otherwise, I'm going to call you out and ask you for your Wi-Fi password because I will do that. Today, we have a few people in the room. I'm going to introduce all of them at the same time. Then after that, I'll just tell you who the first speaker is. First up, we have Oxolo Mofokeng. She's bridging money and mental health, showing us how finances weigh on our minds and what we can do about it. Because when the wallet is empty, the stress is loud. Oxolo is here with strategies to stay resilient. Then we also got Mr. Maurice Van Der Merwe. He knows what it means to start small, to grind, and to grow. Mo's that guy who can turn any kind of idea into an opportunity, proving that no idea is ever too small. And finally, we have Mampho Mofokeng. She's making money basics feel simple and practical. Budgeting, setting goals, saving, not in a boring way, but in a way that fits our youth realities. She tells us about how to load data, how to keep our money until the end of the month without borrowing from those cousins. So I hope you guys are really ready to get into it. Our theme for today is counting what counts. Because for us, it's not just about creating a soft life for the weekend. It's about building futures, building freedom, and building community together, which is why you're here. And we're so excited. And I'm excited. I hope you're excited. If you're excited, let us know. So let's set the tone right. I want you guys to know that this is also not a school. It's not a lecture. It's a conversation. So please, as much as you can, ask questions, share your stories, challenge the ideas. Let's walk out with tools that we can actually use tomorrow, not just nice lines for Instagram to go with that selfie that shows that your skin is glowing today. Are we ready? I'm ready. First up, we're going to welcome Oxolo.
Good evening, everyone. With that energy, I think we're all ready, set, and we're ready to go. So I will quickly share my screen as I will be engaging you guys on what really matters when it comes to money. And at the same time, I want for us to be honest about the conversation. Please do ask me questions. I'm not an expert on how, like, I don't have all the answers on how I'm going to solve your problems, but the only way that I've realized in life is that solving problems is through engaging with people, and more especially with people who have been through, the journey that we're currently working on. So all we have to do today is just to engage each other and for us to understand how we can work together to make it bearable, because guys, we all know that financial resilience is not just about money. When you don't have money, immediately the mood changes. I don't care if you had a 12-hour sleep or 10-hour sleep, but immediately you realize, okay, I don't have a cent in my bank account. Your mood change, your confidence change, and so forth. So I just want us to have that discussion on how we can go about to bridge that, and also what causes that stress. What are other ways that we can implement in our lives to ensure that we don't experience that. I'm not saying you'll ever get to a stage where you don't have money. I don't have money today in my wallet, but still I'm able to smile. So that's what we need to do on how to find ways to move forward irrespective of the circumstances we're in. Okay, I will just go move forward. What is the challenge? Why we don't have money? What's the cause? So why we don't have money? Truth of the matter is, from most of us rural communities, Black communities, if I put it that way, where we don't have generational wealth, and at the same time, we know that there's high rate of unemployment in the world, not even in South Africa. I know that for those who are employed, there is a lot of debts that one has to deal with, responsibilities. We even have an extra token on our culture where we say, okay, it's black tax. I don't like that word, but then it's a word that we use randomly. And again, so with that being said, it leads to no savings. And I believe that there's only a few of us who have like savings, pocket savings funds or so forth. So that's the biggest challenge. But then as young people in South Africa, what's causing this? Why are we in this situation? Yes, we do get financial aid from government. Is it enough? Let's be honest. Now we're whispering, people are not listening. It's just us in this room. Is it enough? No. Does the government have resources to give us more? The truth of the matter is no, because he's still trying to save the 350, 370s that we get. On top of that, one thing that I've been paying attention on when it comes to funds is how when you go to social media, you don't scroll for a second, 2 minutes, and you don't come across an advertisement from a betting company. Why? You drive through to townships and the first billboard that you see is Hollywood Bet. I'm sorry to mention the name. It's those betting companies. But when you drive to Umhlanga and all your suburban areas, you don't see such. Why is that so? Who's the target market? Why is the already deprived communities the ones that are targeted to be part of this betting system, this ways of you losing money? The comfort of your home initially used to go to your casinos, you need to take taxis, you need to plan and so forth. But nowadays, now you just sit in the comfort of your home, in your room, close the door, and then you just misuse the last cent that you have because you are hopeful. And then the one biggest culprit again that is just added, been added to our cycle is social media. Guys, social media, I don't know what we have to do about it, but social media is the biggest culprit when it comes to being broke, because you have your last 100 rand in your pocket. You see this advertisement, oh, it's only 200 rand. Let me ask my friend for 100 rand, and then I'll add to what I've got, and then I'll buy more. Social media is one of the best things to happen for us young people, but at the same time, it's one of the worst things that we experience, because we end up spending money that we don't have, which is a barrier to us facing building our financial resilience. moving forward to that, remember now, I just want you to take this in, and I appreciate you asking me questions, because I've said I want for us to discuss this, because amongst all of us sitting here, we will come up with solutions that actually work for us. Stress, there's a lot of GBV, stress, poverty, but then if you look within, people who are rich will do anything for happiness. But for us who don't have money, we are the happiest. I'm saying this from a point of having been experienced both ends of life. I've been in deep, deep rural communities where I grew up with nothing. And one thing that I always recall is that I've never really thought that we were poor, because the one thing that we had as a family, we were happy. We were just happy, irrespective of we going to bed with indishe papa, with no protein or whatsoever. We were happy, and we didn't realize that we were poor until I grew up and I went to university. I started working. I was like, actually, we were poor, but then there are people with a lot of money who would do anything for that happiness. So the reason I'm sharing that is the fact that we just need to take not even a step back, 5 steps back, and say, how do I build from what I have? You will forgive me, I'm in the agricultural space. So I always say to the youth that I work with, look around you. Most especially in KZN, what do you have? We have land, we have climate. What do you need to start doing something to generate income for you? I just need seedlings. Okay, Siyavuna will give you those seedlings. What else do you need? I don't know how to farm. Siyavuna will train on how to farm. What else? Or what if maybe after I've been trained, I forget what I was taught? We'll mentor you. So there are initiatives and programs in place to support you. What I always say is that all you have to do is to start. And once you start doing something, irrespective of how much you make. I remember I used to work at KFC. I used to clean the floors and tables at KFC. And being like working in that job, I always say I was very content. I accepted where I was in life and I made the most out of it. So what I'm saying is that all you have to do is to start from where we are. The rest will follow. And whatever that you do and you've been given an opportunity to do, you make sure that you do it to your very best. Don't say, oh, I'm stressed, I don't have money, I can't do A, B, C, and Z. It doesn't matter. We don't know where our breakthrough is. So we need to clear our mindsets by doing that and ensure that we accept where we are. And once we accept our situation, that reduces the stress of being broke. In fact, you don't even realize that you don't have money because you're so happy with what you have and where you are. And also, I'd like to call upon my peers, as were in the late 30s, early 40s, to say, I want to challenge you guys. Just look around you. Look at your neighbors' children. Look at the millennials, as we've labeled them, I'm a 2K. Look at them. Whom are you mentoring? Whom are you upskilling to be the future leader of South Africa? Because we've been taught, and most of these skills, guys, we have to learn on our own because our parents were unemployed, we were raised by a housewife, some of us absent fathers, etc., etc. But then we were able to navigate and to find a way on how we go about in life. But then how do we transfer those skills? We shouldn't let our young leaders that are coming up in the sector to go through the same journey. They need to start from the next. We started the foundation phase, so let's alleviate them to the next step. So that mentorship for me, it is vital. Just listening and understanding here from point of relating, from a point of, what, I've been through this, you can go through it as well. And the other thing that I want for us to look at is the mental well-being. Have you noticed when you go to university, they have faculties where you can go to a professional and speak to them about your academics, about life, about all the challenges you're experiencing? Where do youth that are unemployed who dropped out from high school go to in rural communities? Do we have such systems? And we expect those people to be part of programs and social aids that are brought to them in their communities. And you want to see them shining and thriving. Oh, we'll give you 3-year funding. You need to take them from point A to point Z. Irrespective of their mental well-being and their mental state, if you are stressed, if your mindset is not in a good space, there's no way you're going to thrive. So again, we need to look at us providing such aid, but at the same time, looking after the mind. The fact that they are in rural communities, come from communities that are like deprived, less resourced, and so forth, it does not mean that they don't go through the same thing that university student goes to and they have access to help. Who's helping them? Who's guiding them? Who's telling them tomorrow you need to wake up? There's a job opportunity at a place A, B, C, and Z. No one is doing that for them. What are we doing as society? I was saying they don't belong. they don't deserve, or are we further discriminating them just because they were born in rural communities? They did not choose to be born in those communities. So again, I'm calling upon my leaders and also people who are listening in this webinar to say, we need to come together and find ways on how do we capacitate, how do we enable, how do we support and guide those young people in rural communities to look after their mental well-being, and for them to use their existing resources just to, just to have some source of income that will keep them going until they reach their goal, until they are able to get that dream job, because that is possible. Let's have the conversation. I'm Oxolo Mofokeng from Siyavuna Malimi Development Center. Thank you.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I want to take, someone sent me a message here, someone who's actually in the chat, and they actually have something to add. I want to hear what your take is from this, Oxolo. She says, we don't have money because it's a concept that is not communicated with us when we grow up. Therefore, we don't understand it when we are adults. We begin to understand it because we misuse it or are not clued up about how it works. What do you think about that? Is it true? How can young people avoid this? Yeah.
It is absolutely true. I fully agree with that. In fact, we were in a workshop with one of the major banks, and my question to them was, in fact, we invited them to do a financial literacy, education seminar workshop with our beneficiaries. And then I sat there and I was listening, I was like, but then there are no programs that are tailor-made for them. Even the financial institutions don't have room for them, because they still have to get that Capitec is whatever account that they pay 6 rand. From the 370 rand that you get from the financial aid, you're still paying someone, just to keep your funds in that bank account. And I think I've only realized how finances are managed at the age of 35, if I'm not mistaken. That is too late in life. I've already lived more than 3 decades. Again, there's no structures that are relatable to us. A structure that allows you to have your black text line item in your budget. So yes, I fully agree with that. And yes, it is true. It's very difficult.
Oh, sure. So yeah, that was Oxolo, everyone. Thank you. That was very powerful. I know I took notes. I've been taking notes, making sure that I actually stay on track with what my mental health needs. It is true that when the wallet is stressed, the mind is stressed. And I think we all felt that pressure, whether it's worrying about school fees, helping at home, or even just stretching that last 50 rand at the end of the month. Mental health and money are linked. And Oxolo just reminded us how important it is to keep both in check. So thank you. Thank you, General. Now, speaking about pressure, what happens when you start from zero? When you got the ideas, but not the resources? That's where our next speaker comes in. Please welcome Mr. Mo, Mr. Van Der Merwe. He knows what it means to go from the ground to the bottom up. He knows how to flip side hustles into opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the one, the only, Mr. Mo.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be presenting tonight, and I'm ready to go. I'm just, even though I practice sharing my screen, you can see that I want to make sure that I get it all right. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Is it showing?
Please try again, Mo.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's look, share. Yeah, there we are. There we are. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so I'm Mo. I'm head of community for Heavy Chef. It's an entrepreneur learning organization. It's got nothing to do with food. but it's about eating your own food. So never trust a skinny chef. So today I'm going to talk about side hustles and startups, and this is an opportunity for many of our entrepreneurs that are out and looking for a way to get an income, to build a business that could become the reason, looking after their family, taking over, not having to go out looking for a job, but actually being a provider of a job to someone else in their community. So Side Hustles and Startups is the second of our Heavy Chef books that we've released. There we are, it's unblurred. And this is the community in, or let's say, in Seshego. And they all got a copy of Side Hustles and Startups, and they were learning in community on how to build and grow their business. So then it's very important to note that, as Oxolo was saying before, that social media shows us of business owners, entrepreneurs, and their businesses are so fancy, and they have the fancy watch and the Range Rovers and that. But have a look at these entrepreneurs in Botshabelo in the Free State near Bloemfontein. There's nothing fancy about their workshop, but they are so busy that they hardly had time to stop for us to ask them a few questions to learn about their business. It's about doing. It's something they're passionate about. They're more than one generation of building furniture, reupholstering furniture. So it doesn't have to be shiny, fresh, new social media kind of image. It's about being true to your values. Does your business idea align with your personal values and your purpose? This young lady here is one of the entrepreneurs in our community that's based in Olivernoot, and she was taught by her grandmother how to crochet. And then she took that crochet, made herself a bag. The neighbor wanted a bag. She sold the bag to the neighbor, made the next one, sold it, and eventually she built a business from that. And it was aligning with what she likes to do. She likes to crochet. It's something that she does anyway. So it's being true to herself. Also, what's important is when you have a passion business where it's something that you enjoy doing, even when business is slow, you keep going because of that passion for what you do. This entrepreneur also in Botshabelo learned to sew many years ago and now provides school uniforms for people in her community. So even though business is not always thriving, she's still able to feed her family, look after the locals in her community, and doing something that she loves. So when you start your business, you have your business idea, it's a good idea to test it, your idea, prototype. Test it with family and friends. If you want to be a cook or sell food, start by making a quota for your family, see if they like it. Start making a meal for your neighbor if they like it. And once more and more people like your food, start seeing how much they'd pay for that meal. And without much, obviously you got the ingredients that you're buying, but you're not getting funding or taking out a loan. It's something that you can do with just what you have at home. Here's a great example. Aisha Pandor, she's the founder of Sweep South. When we interviewed her for our Heavy Chef platform, she said that when they started Sweep South, they used Google Forms and Google Sheets. So they actually used a free product from Google to manage their first customers until they had enough customers to test the idea, to make sure that it's worthwhile getting funding for building an app. So what I say to you is sell, sell, sell. Find your business idea through sales. If something costs 5 Rand, you sell it for 10 Rand. Now you can buy 2 of those things for 5 Rand and sell 2 of them. And then you got 20 Rand, then you can buy 4 things. So a lot of the entrepreneurs feel like in all the communities that we are based in around South Africa, is that they need funding for their business. And there's so many entrepreneurs that show you that that's not the case. You can start with a tiny amount and then build your business up through sales. So something that Heavy Chef is super passionate about is learning in community. So on the topic of money, I was in Umlazi. So these are the entrepreneurs that are in Umlazi and KZN. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about managing money. And what one of the entrepreneurs, he's a plumber, said that, but you know, he comes home with 2,000 Rand, and then his wife needs some money for food, and then his kid needs something for school, and then the neighbor comes and borrows some money, and then that 2,000 Rand is finished. And I said, well, you know, this is tough. Like, it's very hard for someone like me. I'm Mulungu, I'm not in the community. How do you deal about it? And one of the ladies in the group said, no, all her customers EFT her, so that money goes directly into her bank account, and she pays her staff and herself on the 15th of every month. If her child gets sick on the 13th of the month, she'll borrow money from her mom or her uncle or auntie, rather than take money from that business, because that's her business's money. It's not hers, and she's in charge of that business. So I think that's great. It's the lessons come from those around you, and I think that's key for Heavy Chef. One of our Heavy Chefs, Tsepo, he's told us that you need to make your money work for you. And the only way you can do that is have a budget. So you start off with a budget and you say how you're going to spend your money, where your money is coming from, where it's coming in, and only follow those rules that you've set aside for yourself, that you can make your money work for you. So this is very interesting. I'm an entrepreneur as well, and I've got a coffee business, and I started my coffee business in January 2019. But in preparation for today's slides, I found the spreadsheet of mine from August 2018. So I was already working on a forecast, a simple budget for my coffee business of, okay, if I sell 200 cups a week, that gives me a revenue of 4,000. What is the cost of sales? So how much does each cup of coffee cost? Get the selling price less the cost of sale. That's my gross margin, less my wages for my barista. And the funny thing is now it's 2025, so 6 years later, and I'm still using the same basic spreadsheet to track my sales and see how the business is doing. It's on Google Sheets, so it's a free service, but it means I'm actually monitoring the sales of my business simply without being overly complicated. Next up, let's talk about branding. So something that we're very proud of at Heavy Chef is, and kind of one of our ingredients is our design, is that branding needs to be simple. You must keep the story simple, tell people who you are and what your business is and why that matters. So here you're seeing some images from our Heavy Chef program, and it's the entrepreneurs' businesses at the end of the program with their simple posters and their branding, which they go put up in their stores. Another way to brand and market your business is talk about your business to everyone. If there's an opportunity to get in front of a camera, put it on social media. You know, those are the positives of social media. Tell your neighbor, tell your friends, and talk about your business all the time. But it's very important to be able to describe your business. I think a lot of entrepreneurs like to focus on, or small business owners like to focus on all the things they do. Pick one thing and do that thing really well, rather than sell, you know, takeaways and perfume and airtime and sexy rides and ice. Pick one thing that you can be really good at and be able to describe your business, because you never know. You could be speaking to someone that could either mentor you or maybe invest your business, but definitely you could be talking to someone who could be a customer. Use simple and free tools to manage your business. As I mentioned before, and I showed you my spreadsheet, use simple tools, pick one tool, use it, get to know it really well, and manage your business like that. There's no need to subscribe to any expensive systems to manage your business. You can use what's out there. One thing when it comes to your business processes, as Dominic Bins, our chef here in the picture, gave an idea of taking all your tasks in your business, put each one on a post-it note, put that up on the wall, and then have a look at that list and see how you can improve things. What you want, what's the one thing you want to focus on? How does that affect your customers? Am I doing that in the right order? Maybe ask someone to have a look at it for you. And a simple exercise like that doesn't cost a lot of money, but it could have great results on your small business. And nearly finished is that spend time with other entrepreneurs in your community. They will have had the same challenges that you're having. They'll have solutions to those challenges. Maybe you got some solutions to their challenges. But learn together. If there's a course, sign up. If there's an activity for entrepreneurs, go to it, because I guarantee you're going to learn something from it. And here's from our celebration event from our last program in Gauteng. If the Heavy Chef Foundation, in our research, we found that an entrepreneur's ability to succeed is correlated to your ability to connect and with the frequency and the quality of other entrepreneurs in your area. So if you're an entrepreneur, it's a lonely journey. Find other entrepreneurs, connect with them, have regular connections with them, check in on each other, on each other's mental health, and then you will be fine. And that's me. Thank you very much. And I really enjoyed presenting here this evening.
Hey, and that was the Heavy Chef dropping heavy buzz. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope you guys took down a few notes, but I do have a question for you, because I will not let you go and rest until we have the answers that we need. And the question that I have is, don't you think that anyone starting a food side hustle in South Africa should first have a certificate of acceptability and be compliant with trading standards before selling to the public? So for someone who's starting out, the certification yeah.
So that is really important. That's you can go to jail if you get caught without that. If someone gets sick, you can go to jail. But there are solutions. There are ghost kitchens all around South Africa where they have these industrial kitchens have all of the right food safety precautions in place, the certification, and you can test your idea with them. If you got an idea for a menu item, find your local restaurant or your local takeaway and say, hey, I'd like to try this item. Can I use your facilities, be under your guidance, and test it like that?
Yeah. Thank you so much. One thing you also mentioned, you had us hungry with the Kota stories, and I'll never forget what you said, that you should never trust a skinny chef. But you know what I love about what you said is it wasn't just about the Kota, it's about turning everyday struggles into something meaningful. So thank you for that. And that's exactly where our next voice is taking us. So we've spoken about money, about side hustles, about the grind. But at the end of the day, what you're holding down when life gets heavy, who's making sure you're not crying all alone? That's where community steps in, So to close us off, please welcome someone who embodies the spirit and the heart of a community, a true connector, a powerhouse in making people feel seen. Please welcome Mampho.
Hi, that's a big introduction. Thank you. I'm Mampho Mofokeng from Gauteng, from Federation of the Urban and Rural Poor. This is the movement that comprises the vulnerable women and men, youth and children who are mobilized around dynamic savings scheme to drive a bottom-up initiative influencing change towards resilient cities and contributes to national development agenda. So my topic today, I will be covering mind over money. So firstly, one will ask, mind over money, what is the practical money management plan? So would say money management is a process of knowing where your spending are going to today and having a well thought out plan in place for where you want it to go in future. Firstly, you need to save for a purpose. Saving for a purpose means setting up a clear financial goal and detecting your saving towards achieving them, such as paying off your debts. It involves combination of disciplined financial habits and strong motivation to stay on track. And then now we say once one has defined exactly what they are saving for, it makes it easier. And once you know your goal is, you are specific and it's measurable, it makes saving less of a cure and more of a purposefully journey towards your aspiration. Firstly, you need to follow the keys. When you're saving for a purpose, you don't just save. You must know why you are saving. It provides motivation that will makes it easier for one to cut on spending and discipline and stay disciplined. Secondly, it will also guides you to decision making with a specific goal in mind. It becomes easier to say no to impulse purchasing and yes to action that align with your aspirations. Building a budget that moves with you to keep things simple. Use budgets that allows bank accounts and make sure your budget includes all the essential housing, saving, insurance, investment, and leisure, while leaving a bit of wiggling room for the unexpected. Some call it emergency funds because I know that no one likes to think about things going wrong, but planning for bumps in the road is key. So my advice is simple to young people is to say, start saving from the small amount that you have, because time is your biggest financial advantage. Also, live below your means and prioritize saving constantly, no matter your income. There's a say that says, a little penny saved, it's a penny earned. So from the organization that I come from, we advise communities, our small communities, our poor people, to start saving from as little as 100, because now when one starts talking about saving, it's a big word, because now you ask yourself, how do you start saving when you're unemployed? Saving needs a lot of money. So we bring livelihood, we change we collect lives by making them recognize and giving them a sense of confidence and resilience, knowing that your 1 rand can do a change in your life. And it's easy for us to, when we are saving as a group, we are able to collect lives. It's not only about collecting money. This is where we come in a group, we share. So now when you have your daily saving, there's a term that we use, it says daily saving. We go to house. This is also another mental health plan to check where you're coming from, because some of the behaviors, especially from young people, it all begins at home. So we evaluate where they come from, and then we come organized to discuss the matters that are rising within our informal communities and our pure people. And we also have a page that is called KYC TV, where young people and women will be showcasing their savings, their testimonies. So we give all kind of tips on how you want to save your money. Why do you want to save? You cannot only save for short term. Let's also look for a longer term. So this has been a very successful for our movement to be able to bring a change within the poor communities. Thank you.
Oh, short but sweet. I like that. So Mampho, we have a comment for you. Someone said, yes, we fetch it, but I don't commit. And it's sad. I'm glad I'm having a fresh perspective. So if you, from a big sister's point of view, could give us advice, as young people on how to always have our mind over money. Because I know even with me now, I'm thinking about what am I doing for my birthday on Sunday? You know, money is always above the mind. What would you say to that? Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is, young people, we need to be organized, especially coming from the informal settlement. We need to be organized, because no one recognizes young people who are within the informal settlements. No, as long as we are organized, we'll be able to identify projects on the ground and make a noise. Let's make a noise as young people. Let's come together and say, this is our challenges. Who do we call action to?
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. It's all right, fam. We're going to take a quick moment to pull everything together, okay? Are you ready? I hope you guys have your pens in hand. Comment, people. I hope you guys are writing the comments down, because you're going to need this later. So, firstly, Oxolo reminded us that money isn't just numbers on a screen, it's tied to our mental health. How we manage stress is literally a part of how we manage our finances, right? This means that you don't have to binge eat every time you're stressed. Budget for that. Then Mo showed us that even the small steps can grow into big things. Side hustles, ideas, they can all turn into real opportunities if we are constant. And of course, Mampho gave us practical tools on budgeting, saving, planning, and things that we can actually use in our everyday lives without losing our minds. Now, the thread runs through all of this. It's growth, it's mental health, it's financially knowing how and how things are connected. And the reason these worked is because we're doing it together. We're a community. It's communications like this. So I'm going to ask you guys right now, because I want to know from you guys what you guys think. And already I'm getting a few questions on some of the things that people wanted to know. One of them being, someone said, for Mr. Mo, it would be cool if you also spoke about how people can have access to your resources. They're saying that there is some interest in the lives, meaning that you have grown on our community. You, Mr. Mo, you heavy chef serving us financial food. So they want to know, how can they actually get to know about your resources, or to actually get their hands on what you have to offer for everyone? Yeah.
The easiest way is to go to heavychef.com/join, and you can sign up for free to the platform, access all of the recipes, including the ones that I mentioned today, for free, completely for free, no card details needed, no 7-day trial, none of that. And yeah, and once you join that, you'll get access to our newsletters on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so you can learn more about what's happening with entrepreneurs all around South Africa.
Yeah, I like that. Did you hear that? It's not Canva Pro. You don't pay. There's no hidden fees. Just sign up. It's free. And you'll have all the resources that you need. And then I also have a question for Oxolo that I got here around the issue of mental health and money. Can I actually budget for my mental health? So I know that some people are overspenders when they're angry. Some people are underspenders when they're excited or whatever. Is there a way in which young people today can actually put feelings over money where, you take budgeting seriously? What would you say to that?
I would say yes, it's possible and it's important for you to do so. However, I also like to share that if you don't have resources to seek professional help,
Yeah,
that big brother, that sister, that's someone that you look up to every day and you're like, oh, one day I aspire to be just like that person. Trust me,
yeah,
just go to them and greet them and say, you really inspire me.
yeah,
Can you just help me? That 2-sentence conversation will be a game changer for you, because having someone to listen to your story and to hold your hand and just give you their undivided attention, sometimes
sure.
it's the most critical mental support one needs, just to be heard and seen and guided.
You spoke like you are winning Miss South Africa. I like that. That was an answer. Thank you so much for that. So before we wrap up, I want to tell everyone that this doesn't end here. Community is a verb. It's something that we do. So here is the move. Reflect on what we've talked about today. Host your own meetups with your friends, peers, networks. Share your reflections and ideas so that we can spread and help more young people catch the good vibe about money, so that we can make these conversations easy. And finally, a very huge thank you to Oxolo, to Mr. Mo, to Mampho, and to all of you who have joined and participated in this month's community talk. Let's build, let's reflect, let's take action in our communities, because community isn't just something we talk about, it's something that we do, that we practice together. So let's go out there, let's make moves. A huge shout out to Radio Workshop and to Youth Capital for giving us this opportunity. We cannot wait to see you next month. So please make sure that you put it in action and come tell us next month. From me and from everyone on this live, goodbye, guys. Goodbye.